Hey there, Marvel fans. Welcome back to New World Movies, your ultimate destination for all things cinematic. Today, we're diving into the epic conclusion of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Saga with none other than Avengers: Endgame. But before we jump into the action, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update on the latest movie reviews, summaries, and trailers. Now, let's talk Avengers: Endgame. From the heart-stopping battles to the jaw-dropping plot twists, this film had us on the edge of our seats from start to finish. But don't worry, we won't spoil a single moment for you. Instead, we'll take you on a journey through the emotional highs and lows, the epic battles, and the unforgettable moments that made Endgame a cinematic masterpiece. But hey, our channel isn't just about recaps and reviews. We want to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your favorite Avengers moment or which Marvel movie you want us to cover next. Your feedback helps us tailor our content to what you want to see, so, what are you waiting for? Hit that like button, subscribe to New World Movies, and let's embark on an adventure through the Marvel Universe together. Stay tuned for more movie magic, and as always, thanks for watching. Avengers: Endgame is the epic conclusion to the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Saga, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. Released in 2019, the film follows the aftermath of Avengers: Infinity War, where Thanos, the powerful villain, wiped out half of all life in the universe with the snap of his fingers using the Infinity Gauntlet. In Avengers: Endgame, the surviving Avengers, led by Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, are devastated by their failure to stop Thanos. However, they devise a plan to travel back in time to retrieve the Infinity Stones and undo the snap, thus restoring the lives lost. The movie features an ensemble cast, including Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Evans as Captain America, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, and Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, among others. It also introduces new elements and characters, such as the Quantum Realm and Captain Marvel. Avengers: Endgame is known for its emotional depth, intense action sequences, and satisfying character arcs. It explores themes of sacrifice, redemption, and the importance of teamwork. The film culminates in an epic battle between the Avengers and Thanos, leading to a climactic showdown that changes the fate of the universe. With its intricate storytelling, stunning visual effects, and heartfelt moments, Avengers: Endgame became a cultural phenomenon, breaking numerous box office records and earning critical acclaim. It serves as a fitting conclusion to over a decade of storytelling in the MCU, leaving a lasting impact on audiences worldwide. Avengers: Endgame is the culmination of a decade of blockbuster filmmaking, the result of years of work from thousands of people. It is designed to be the most blockbuster of all the blockbusters, a movie with a dozen subplots colliding, and familiar faces from over 20 other movies. It's really like nothing that Hollywood has produced before, existing not just to acknowledge or exploit the fans of this series, but to reward their love, patience, and undying adoration. The blunt thing you probably want to know most: it's hard to see serious MCU fans walking away from this disappointed. It checks all the boxes, even ticking off a few ones that fans won't expect to be on the list. It's a satisfying end to a chapter of blockbuster history that will be hard to top for pure spectacle. In terms of sheer entertainment value, it's on the higher end of the MCU, a film that elevates its most iconic heroes to the legendary status they deserve and provides a few legitimate thrills along the way. Don't worry, I will stay very spoiler-free. The main joy of this film is in how its incredibly complex narrative unfolds, and you can go elsewhere if you want that ruined. The disappointing Avengers: Infinity War ended with Thanos finally getting all of the 6 Infinity Stones he so desperately sought, and then using them to wipe out half of existence, including beloved heroes like Black Panther, Star-Lord, and Spider-Man. Avengers: Endgame picks up a few weeks after the snap, as the remaining heroes try to pick up the pieces and figure out if there's a way to reverse Thanos' destruction. Immediately, Endgame is a more focused piece than Infinity War by virtue of having a tighter, smaller cast. It's a more patient, focused film, even as its plot draws in elements of a dozen other movies. Whereas Infinity often felt bloated, Endgame allows some of the more iconic characters in the history of the MCU a chance to be, well, heroic. No longer mere pawns in a Thanos-driven plot, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, and Thor break free of the crowd, ably assisted by Hawkeye and Ant-Man. In a sense, this is the new Avengers, and the tighter group of superheroes reminded me of the charm of Joss Whedon's first Avengers movie. One in which strong personalities were allowed to bounce off each other instead of just feeling like they were strapped into a roller coaster headed in the same direction. It also allows space for some of the best acting work in the franchise, particularly from Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., who one realizes while watching this have turned Captain America and Iron Man into something larger than life for a generation. The most satisfying aspect of Endgame is in how much it provides the MCU's two most popular heroes the story arc they deserve instead of just drowning them in a sea of cameos by lesser characters from other movies. In the way it canonizes them, it becomes an ode to the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. The skill those actors along with some I haven't mentioned, like Tessa Thompson and Mark Ruffalo and Benedict Cumberbatch bring to the Marvel movies in general, and to Avengers, Endgame specifically, only makes me wish these movies were breezier and more inventive. And less obsessed with the high-stakes, big-money fan-pleasing game. But you can't have everything, and Endgame at least gives these actors something to work with. Endgame opens with an unnerving, gracefully filmed prologue involving Renner's Clint Barton, Hawkeye when in his superhero guise. He's enjoying an outdoor picnic with his family when it becomes clear that what we're seeing is a moment connected to the tail end of Infinity War. The instant supervillain Thanos snapped his fingers after having captured the last of those 6 all-powerful nuggets known as the Infinity Stones and destroyed exactly half the world's population, leaving the other half to grieve and remember. This megalomaniacal act was Thanos' way of cleansing what he viewed as a corrupt universe. But Hawkeye, having retreated from Avengers' duty to be a family man, wasn't around to witness Thanos' big finale and, as Endgame begins, he doesn't yet know that half his friends have turned to dust. And so, in this moment, we know what's going to happen before Hawkeye does. He turns away from his family for just a millisecond, and in a blink, they're gone. Next we see the other remaining Avengers pulling themselves together after the tragedy or, in the case of Scott Lang/Ant-Man, just waking up after a quantum realm-induced nap. Lang quickly gets up to speed on what he missed, and comes up with the germ of a plan. Might the Avengers go back in time to foil Thanos' plan of half-destruction? Lang introduces his idea to remaining Avengers Steve Rogers/Captain America, Natasha Romanoff/Black Widow and James Rhodes/War Machine. They bring this spark of an idea to the guy who might be able to make it work, Downey's Tony Stark/Iron Man, who barely survived Thanos' Destructathon. First Stark says it's impossible, then he changes his mind but he also worries that if the scheme doesn't work, he'll lose all he's gained in what has for him become a bittersweet time, an era during which he's mourning his lost friends but also starting a new life for himself. Still from Avengers, Endgame featuring Tony Stark/Iron Man. Film Frame Marvel Studios 2019. The plan to turn back time is less a major plot point than a mechanism to keep the story clicking. And the middle section in which the Avengers break into groups to travel to specific places and years where they can grab one Infinity Stone or another before Thanos can get his dirty mitts on any of them is the movie's finest. Avengers, Endgame is a better movie than Avengers, Infinity War in one important sense. It relies less on milking tears out of us than on focusing on what each of these characters might mean to us, given our history with them. The mid-section of Endgame shows the Avengers actors at their best. Chris Hemsworth, as a Thor who has slid into a state of pot-bellied depression post-Thanos, gets a chance to reunite with his long-dead mother, Frigga, in the kingdom of his birth, Asgard. He greets her tentatively, almost shyly, nearly dumbfounded by the gift of seeing her again even for a few moments. She discreetly asks about his funky eye. The tenderness between them is lush and quiet, underscoring what's most valuable about Endgame. There is only one gargantuan, booming fight scene, and it's not the centerpiece of the movie. It's as if the Russo brothers have finally acknowledged that bigger, noisier battles amount to less rather than more. At least we can hope. Still from Avengers, Endgame featuring Thor. Film frame Marvel Studios 2019. Endgame does give us some arresting visuals. Thompson's Valkyrie riding on a winged horse, anyone? But generally, the actors are Endgame's finest special effect. Though we're made to wait for the entrance of Boseman's T'Challa/Black Panther, it's worth it. He coasts into the movie on a regal cloud. And Robert Downey, after playing Tony Stark/Iron Man for perhaps too many years, snaps back into form. In the 2008 Iron Man, Downey brought a kind of frazzled elegance to the role of Stark. His nervous energy seemed to spark from his fingertips, as if it were too much for his body to contain. In the years since, his Iron Man performances have become more brittle, more reliant on tics. But in Endgame, Stark's moments of doubt feel lived in. Downey's performance is alive with prickly uncertainty. Even when Endgame hits its generally predictable beats, you can still count on the actors to shift the mood into slightly uncomfortable emotional territory. The Russos and their writers clearly took pains to give nearly each character a gratifying arc, and a proper if not necessarily soft place to land. That must have been a lot of work, and a few of the Avengers get short shrift. The ever-so-powerful Captain Marvel drops out of the movie for a long stretch, eventually returning with a short haircut. Some arcs still from Avengers, Endgame featuring Black Widow/Natasha Romanoff and Captain America/Steve Rogers. Film frame Marvel Studios 2019. But the Russos more than make up for that with the discreet, wistful coda they give Steve Rogers/Captain America. It's the movie's single most gorgeous element, perfectly fitting for a guy who entered a 70-year sleep right after finding the love of his life. Evans' Captain America has always been, physically speaking, the beefiest of all the Avengers, as sturdy and wholesome as the after picture in a Charles Atlas ad. Yet Evans has also always been one of the most understated actors in the franchise. As Steve, Evans' smile is easy, friendly, in a stock all-American way. But there's never been any swagger behind it. It's the smile of a guy who's lost something valuable, whose view of the future is perpetually tinted with the color of what he left behind. Avengers, Endgame isn't a great movie, but there are flashes of greatness in it, and quite a few of them belong to Evans. His Captain America rewards us with a revelation and escapes with a secret. The best thing in Avengers, Endgame is everything he doesn't say. Let me to other videos. Thanks for watching. I am waiting to hear from you on the comments.